You just threw away 30% of the money you spent on mushrooms today. And something worth even more than money. That tiny little stem is holding exactly what your soil has been missing for years. The cardboard mushroom trend is going viral everywhere. You've seen the video, right? Mushroom stems, cardboard boxes, the fridge, 2 weeks of waiting, and 80% of people who tried it failed. But that video accidentally revealed a secret the supermarket doesn't want you to know. Not a secret about mushrooms, a secret about soil. In the next 12 minutes, you'll learn how to use those same mushroom stems, so your houseplants can visibly improve within 8 weeks. Just 30 seconds of effort, no cardboard box, no fridge, $0. And here's the question I'll answer at the end of this video. Same mushroom stem, same coffee grounds. Why does burying it in soil work nearly 100% of the time, while the cardboard method fails 80% of the time? First, let's be straight about the cardboard box and about that video. The comments under that video got it right. Glue, ink, PFAS, green trichoderma mold. 2 weeks of monitoring just to watch a box turn green and soggy. Those commenters, they weren't wrong. Here's the science. A 2022 study published in the journal Chemosphere by Golovko and colleagues confirmed. Pleurotus mushrooms absorb PFAS from cardboard directly into the fruiting body. Meaning those viewers were right. That's exactly why we're dropping cardboard completely in this video. But here's the part that video, even accidentally, got half right. Supermarket mushroom stems do contain something genuinely valuable. It's just not inside a cardboard box. Oyster and Shiitake stems contain dormant Mycelium, waiting for the right conditions to wake up. Not inside a cardboard box, but right under the soil in your houseplant pot. In this video, we'll cover 3 parts, short and focused. Watch to the end and you can do this tonight. 1. Why oyster and shiitake stems wake up in soil, and why only those 2 varieties, not button mushrooms or enoki. 2. The 3.6 times mechanism. Why combining mushroom stems with coffee grounds turns your soil into a slow-release nutrient battery for your plant roots, lasting months. 3 30-second use cases. Indoor potted plants, outdoor garden beds, cold compost, with exact quantities so you don't accidentally overdo it. And at minute 9, I'm going to show you something surprising. But it comes with the most important warning in this entire video. This video runs about 12 minutes. The action at the end, you can do it tonight while you're cooking dinner. Let's get into it. You buy oyster mushrooms at the grocery store. They've been kept at around 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That means the mycelium inside is dormant, not dead. Dormant. When you bury that stem in moist soil, it finds water, finds fresh carbon, and the mycelium wakes up and starts spreading. No sterile lab, no laminar flow hood, your garden soil is enough. But, and this matters, not every mushroom variety can do this. Button mushrooms, Agaricus bisporus, are secondary decomposers. They need heat-composted manure to survive. Bury them in regular potting soil, and they just rot. Enoki flammulina are also saprotrophic but way too fragile. Trichoderma outcompetes them within a week. Only 2 species, Oyster, Pleurotus ostreatus, Shiitake, Lentinula edodes. Commit those 2 names to memory, just those 2. And here's what forests have known for millions of years. A cold shock at 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the natural biological trigger that activates mushroom growth. Not a hack someone invented. Millions of years of evolution. Specifically, the mycelium deploys white rot enzymes, lacase peroxidase cellulase, to break down lignin and cellulose. Sounds technical. Here's the plain English version. Regular soil bacteria are workers with bare hands. They hit a lignin wall and quit. Oyster mycelium is a worker with a power saw. It cuts through that wall, then hands every single nutrient brick back to your plant roots. Right species, right temperature. Mycelium wakes itself up, you don't need to do anything else. But why isn't burying the stem alone enough? Why do you need to add coffee grounds? The answer is in this morning's cup of coffee. Spent coffee grounds contain a lot of nutrients that are fantastic for plants. But they also contain caffeine, tannins, and polyphenols, compounds that regular soil bacteria simply can't break down efficiently. Those nutrients end up locked inside. Enzyme hydrolysis research shows white rot mycelium breaks down the toxic fraction of spent coffee grounds, caffeine, polyphenols, achieving a 48% degradation rate. Regular soil bacteria only hit 13%. That's about 3.6 times more effective, specifically at the hardest to break down fraction. Important clarification. The 3.6 times figure applies to the toxic fraction caffeine and polyphenols, not overall composting speed. I'm being precise about this because a lot of videos out there overstate that number. Once the mycelium unlocks that toxic fraction, it does one more thing. It secretes low molecular weight organic acids and phosphatase enzymes, mobilizing phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen that were locked deep in the soil, and banks them inside fungal biomass like an underground vault. That vault is called microbial biomass phosphorus. The way I think of it, an underground nutrient battery, not fertilizer that dumps everything at once. A slow, steady trickle, released over months, exactly when your plant roots come looking for it. And here's the real-world proof, not AI-generated footage. But one hard limit: too much coffee grounds will backfire. Above 30% of total soil mass, caffeine and phenols concentrate too high and suppress the mycelium instead of feeding it. That threshold is called fungitoxic. This isn't faster composting. This is unlocking nutrients that were already stuck inside your kitchen scraps. So, how much, where exactly, and under what conditions? Here are 3 use cases, 30 seconds each. Use case 1. Indoor potted houseplants. Take 1 or 2 oyster or shiitake stems. Chop them up with a butter knife. Add no more than 1 tablespoon, about 15 grams, of spent coffee grounds per liter of potting soil. Bury it at least 2 inches deep. Water lightly. That's it. Repeat every 3 to 4 months at most. One important note: don't leave coffee grounds exposed on the soil's surface. Caffeine is toxic to dogs and cats if they lick it. Burying it deep protects your pets, not just your plants. Use case 2. Outdoor garden beds. Pull back your mulch layer. Dig a shallow trench. Spread a layer of spent coffee grounds about ½ an inch thick, mixed with wood chips or straw. Add roughly 1 cup of chopped mushroom stems per square yard. Cover it back up with at least 2 inches of mulch to block UV degradation. Use case 3. Outdoor compost pile. This one comes with a condition you need to keep in mind. Do not place it in the center of an active hot compost pile. Active piles reach 130 degrees Fahrenheit. That temperature kills Pleurotus outright. Place it only at the cool outer edge of the pile, or use it in a passive cold composting system where temperatures stay low. Ratio: 1 part coffee grounds to 4 parts browns, dry sticks, dry leaves, uncoated cardboard strips. 3 most common mistakes. 1. Leaving coffee grounds exposed on the soil surface, aspergillus mold bloom and pet caffeine poisoning. Bury it deep. 2. Using too much coffee grounds above 30% by mass is fungitoxic, full stop. 3. Using button or enoki mushrooms for this. They don't work with this method. Oyster only. Shiitake only. Now, if bonus mushrooms actually do push up through your soil, here is the single most important thing you need to know before you touch them. In certain favorable conditions, a shaded mulched garden bed, a moist houseplant pot, the cool edge of a compost pile, you might see something like this 4 to 8 weeks in. Beautiful, right? That right there is visual proof your soil ecosystem is alive and working. But immediately after this moment, there's something I need you to hear. If mushrooms do grow up from this method, treat them as a trophy. Proof that your underground system is thriving. Do not eat anything that comes out of uncontrolled outdoor soil, even if it looks exactly like the oyster or shiitake stem you buried. Outdoor soil harbors Listeria, Salmonella, and deadly wild lookalikes. Galerina and Amanita can drift in as airborne spores and colonize the same enriched bed. Photograph it, admire it, let it decay back into the soil. Your plants win either way. Now, a 60-second segment I've seen 0 other gardening channels bother to include. Why we are specifically not telling you to eat this. If your goal is guaranteed safe-to-eat mushrooms, buy a $25 spawn block from a reputable supplier. You'll get multiple flushes of clean, controlled mushrooms. That is the right answer for eating. This video is for the 95% of you who don't want to run a mushroom farm. You want healthier houseplants. You want a more alive garden bed. You want to stop throwing away kitchen scraps that still have something to give. That's the Axiom New Gardener Survey talking. 53% of gardeners say plant health and bloom quality is their #1 motivation, not mushrooms. The bonus mushroom moment? That's your visual trophy. Your neighbor is going to notice your plants and ask what you're doing differently. That's the payoff. All right, let's land this. 30 seconds. 1 butter knife. $0. Mushroom stems and coffee grounds that were heading to the trash. Buried 2 inches deep in your nearest houseplant pot. That's the whole method. Only Oyster and Shiitake. White rot enzymes break down the toxic fraction of spent coffee grounds 3.6 times more effectively than soil bacteria alone. Microbial biomass phosphorus feeds your roots in a slow trickle for months. And if bonus mushrooms show up, photograph them, don't eat them. Listeria, Salmonella, Galerina, and Amanita are real risks from uncontrolled outdoor soil. Here's why burying in soil works nearly every time while the cardboard method fails 80%. Soil is already alive. It's full of native mycelium, microbial partners, and biological competition that Oyster and Shiitake have co-evolved with for millions of years. A cardboard box is a fake sterile environment. The moment protocol slips, trichoderma takes over. Soil doesn't require protocol, it just requires the right species. Tonight, when you cook with mushrooms, chop those stems, bury them in the nearest houseplant pot with 1 tablespoon of coffee grounds. Take a photo of that pot. In 8 weeks, take another one. Then wait for your neighbor to ask what you did differently, because your plants don't need you to do more gardening. They need you to do the right gardening.